All right, let's talk about one of America's oldest and, frankly, weirdest legends, the Jersey Devil. Now, this isn't just a spooky campfire story, oh no. This is a story about political backstabbing, colonial-era fake news, and even a little petty rivalry involving one of America's founding fathers. So, how on earth did a local myth cause a panic so big it shut down an entire state? Well, it all started during one absolutely terrifying week.
To really get a grip on just how powerful this legend is, we have to travel back in time to a single week in January of 1909. Something appeared in the Delaware Valley, something that caused a genuine, widespread panic. So what was it?
It was this. According to hundreds, and I mean hundreds of newspaper reports, people were seeing a creature that was unlike anything they had ever imagined. It was terrorizing towns all the way from South Jersey to Philadelphia. It left these bizarre tracks, it let out a shriek that people said was blood-curdling, and it seemed totally unstoppable. The panic was very, very real.
So what exactly did people claim they were seeing out there? Well, the description that's been handed down for centuries is, basically a monster built from a collection of nightmares.
Just look at this bizarre list of features. It's not one thing, right? It's a total mishmash. You've got the head of a horse, leathery bat wings, cloven hooves like a goat. It's like a creature that's been pieced together from a bunch of different animals. And you know, this is classic folklore stuff. You create a monster that has parts that are familiar, but when you put them all together, it's just terrifyingly unnatural.
And this timeline just shows you how quickly things went off the rails. It all started with some weird footprints in the snow, but within a matter of days, schools were closing their doors. People were too scared to go to work. This was not some ghost story being whispered around a campfire. For one solid week, this creature had real-world consequences, shutting down businesses and sending armed posses out into the woods to hunt it down.
Okay, so where did this thing supposedly come from? Well, the most famous origin story is a classic piece of American folklore. It's a dark little tale about an exhausted mother and a very, very unwanted child.
So picture this. The year is 1735. A woman known to history as Mother Leeds already has 12 children, and she just found out she's pregnant with her 13th. In a moment of just pure exhaustion and frustration, she screams out a curse to the heavens, damning her unborn child.
And according to the legend, the curse actually worked. On a dark and stormy night, the child was born, but it wasn't human. It was a monster. The story says it transformed right there in the room, unfurled its wings, attacked the midwife, and then flew up the chimney, disappearing into the dark woods of the Pine Barrens to haunt the area forever. It's a simple, terrifying story, but it is not the real story.
Because the real story, the true origin of the Jersey Devil, has nothing to do with a cursed baby. It has everything to do with colonial politics, nasty rumors, and believe it or not, one of America's most famous founding fathers.
See, the folktale talks about a Mother Leeds, but history points us to a real person, a man named Daniel Leeds. The legend says she had 13 kids. His family was also pretty large. But here's the most important part. While she supposedly gave birth to a literal devil, he was publicly labeled a devil by his political enemies.
So, who was this guy, Daniel Leeds? Well, he was actually a pretty important figure in southern New Jersey back in the day, but he had two huge problems. First, he was a Quaker who published these popular almanacs, but they were filled with astrological symbols. His powerful Quaker community saw that as pagan and blasphemous. And second, his biggest rival in the almanac business was the master of propaganda himself, a young Benjamin Franklin.
Okay, so here is how the smear campaign went down. Leeds gets pushed out by the Quakers. He pushes back, siding with the British crown. In response, the Quakers literally published pamphlets calling him Satan's harbinger. Then Ben Franklin, an absolute master of the media of his time, jumps into the fight. In his incredibly popular Poor Richard's Almanac, he repeatedly predicted the death of Leeds' son Titan. And get this, even after Titan actually died, Franklin kept the joke going for years, mocking him as a ghost riding from beyond the grave. The message was crystal clear. The Leeds family was associated with evil, death, and the supernatural.
And this, right here, this is the smoking gun. This was the Leeds family crest, which they proudly printed on their almanacs for everyone to see. It's a wyvern, a mythical dragon-like creature.
A creature with a long body, leathery bat-like wings, and 2 legs? Sound familiar? All of a sudden, the political nickname the Leeds Devil had a face.
And over generations, this political caricature slowly morphed into the monster that we know today.
But for a political jab to turn into a full-blown monster legend, it needs the right kind of place to hide and to grow. And there is arguably no better place in America for that than the vast, mysterious wilderness right in the heart of New Jersey.
We are talking about the New Jersey Pine Barrens, and it is huge. It's a sprawling, sandy forest that covers over 1.1 million acres. That is a massive patch of wilderness sitting right in the middle of one of the most densely populated places on the entire planet.
The Pine Barrens was the perfect incubator for this legend to thrive. It was vast and really hard to get around in. The sandy soil was barren for farming, so it just never got developed. The isolated communities who lived deep in the woods were often viewed with suspicion by outsiders and called pineys. And it was a landscape of frequent fires and strange, twisted dwarf pine trees. If a monster was going to live anywhere, it was going to be here.
Which brings us to today. The Jersey Devil has transformed yet again, from a political attack to a folk monster, and now into something else entirely. A strange but kind of beloved cultural icon for the state of New Jersey.
Seriously, the monster's image is everywhere now. It's the name of the state's NHL team, the New Jersey Devils, of course. It pops up in TV shows and video games. It's a roller coaster at Six Flags Great Adventure. You can even walk into a bar and order a cocktail named after it. It's become this symbol of the state's weird, wonderful, and maybe slightly dangerous side. And this quote, from a Reddit user of all people, really gets to the heart of why this legend has such staying power. The Devil's home, the Pine Barrens, isn't just some spooky forest. It's a real, massive geographical feature that defines the state's identity. It's the borderland in that fierce, never-ending cultural war between North Jersey, South Jersey, and the furiously debated Central Jersey.
So here's the bottom line. The Jersey Devil is the perfect monster for New Jersey. Think about it. It's a hybrid of a bunch of different parts, just like a state that feels torn between the orbits of New York City and Philadelphia. It's a creature from a mysterious, misunderstood land that separates the state's two very distinct cultural halves.
So, is the monster really out there, in the pines? Or is the story of the Jersey Devil just the story of New Jersey itself? You know, fascinating, a little contradictory, and absolutely impossible to pin down. Something to think about.